respected board of judges, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to you all. Before we proceed to my constructive speech, allow me to rebut the previous speaker of the negative side. He mentioned that it's not a problem, menstruation is not a problem. How can be that not a problem when they are no longer effective in the workplace? He also mentioned that it could lead to misuse and abuse, right? So does it mean that we should neglect this one by just basing it on unsure idea? Now let me go to my speech. As the beneficiality speaker of the affirmative side, I have no doubt in mind that imposing a paid menstruation leave for female employees will be beneficial. Why? First, it reduces the stigma about menstruation. Second, it promotes gender equity. And lastly, it increases work productivity. Going back to my first point, it reduces the stigma about menstruation. Come to think of it, how many women do you think talks about menstruation and their cycle on a daily basis? I don't think you can name that many who shares it openly among their colleagues and it's regarded as a taboo. However, with the imposition of menstruation leave, there will be a period of enlightenment with regards to this concern, where women can speak up about their symptoms, their experiences and needs without having to feel ashamed or worried about being judged. It normalizes and destigmatizes the topic, which promotes social development in the workplace, encouraging a safe, open, and supportive workplace where it shows that as an employer, you care for your employee through recognizing and supporting women's health needs. Down to my second point, you may be questioning the paid menstruation leave to lean in favor of the women. But who experiences it? Isn't it the female population? In a matter of fact, Abbas Singh, advocate Bombay High Court, India, states that the gender classification used in this context is based on intelligible differentia. It is the women who experience menstruation every month and not men, thus making it understandable for such imposition. It's not a matter of giving the same treatment to both classes. Instead, it is giving the required treatment as observed needed, making the workplace inclusive and equitable. And now to my last and final point. It increases work productivity. Menstrual leave is not a new thing at all. It has been going on in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Indonesia. And just recently this year, on February 16, Spain has become the first European country to pass menstrual leave law with paid leave for 3 days that could be extended to 5 days. Now let us reflect. Do these countries experience poor productivity? I doubt so, for this menstruation leave enables the female employees to look after their well-being, rest, or consult the medical experts regarding their experiences. Because why would you force someone to work when they are not feeling well? It would only affect their performance. And for the information of everybody, for those who don't know, when menstruation strikes women, they suffer headaches, cramps, fatigue, and it also influences their mood and causing feeling of dejection or irritability. And we don't want any of that in the workplace. And now tell me, how can you be productive with that? They must be totally okay for them to execute their task properly and provide a good quality of service. That would be all. I am ready for my interpretation.
Speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
Thank you. Second, negative speaker to cross-examine. Second, affirmative speaker.
Good day to you, Council. You have made mention in your constructive speech countries such as Japan, Spain, North Korea.
Yes.
You are aware that our economic sector is of no level to them.
Not necessarily, not in this case.
Yes or no?
No.
No, you are not aware. So therefore, imposing paid menstrual leave for you with no awareness of our economic level would then mean that it is impractical to produce this in our country.
Please proceed to your next question.
So you have also made mention of the productivity.
Yes, I did.
Productivity to women, but does this initially set productivity in the workplace as a whole?
Of course, because how can you be productive
No,
when you're
yes
not
or
feeling
no,
well?
Mr. Speaker? Does this?
Pardon, can you repeat your question, please?
Are you saying that imposition of paid menstrual leave produces productivity in the workplace as a whole?
Yes. I mean,
I don't think you can
menstruation
say that.
is one of the factors why.
You have made mention that women should be, that women should have the leverage with regards to their natural operating process, such as menstruation. But do you know that there are different kinds of menstruation? There are
Yeah,
different.
of course I am.
So you are aware of women not experiencing severe and
Does it mean that we should neglect it all because there are other
I'm
lots of
asking you
one?
if you are aware, sir.
Yes, I am.
You are aware. So this would mean that awareness of that fact would mean that there is a possibility of undermining the noble cause of menstrual leave, such as there are existences of women who do not have those kinds of severe and chronic conditions regards to menstruation.
And do you think we are solving problems because we are neglecting this one because there are
I
lots
am
of
not
nutrition
asking
that
for
you
your
mentioned
opinion
earlier?
with regards to that or explanation. Next question would be, you have made mention that this is a form of required treatment. Do you think that, by definition, a leave is just an approved absence in the workplace? This does not equate to treatment, correct? Yes or no?
Pardon? Can you repeat the
A
question?
leave is just an approved.
Not necessarily, not in this case, because
You have not made mention that in your necessities with regards to what leave is. But now I am asking
because if
Does
employees
Okay, time is up. Thank you so much, both speakers.
Thank you.
Vote
Lasted for 2 minutes and
Second negative speaker, please deliver your constructive.
Ladies and gentlemen, your honors, congratulations all. I am here to give you the benefits of the non-beneficiaries of the posting paid menstruation leave for female employees. First of all, women face a lot of struggles by nature. As a result, the government has given favor to these in form of policies, benefits, and leaves. But this time, we must know when to hit the brakes. Correspondingly, or before I reach to my constructive speech, I would like to do a little rebut, as they have made mention of gender equality, which in a sense, it doesn't happen in the workplace, as to there is a large distinction to the privileges given to women than that of men. So this would mean that women now have the opportunity to gain paid leaves without having to work in their jobs. So this would just create an unproductive work environment to the whole labor sector. Correspondingly, this then leads me to 3 counter-arguments as to why imposing paid menstruation leave for female employees is of no benefit. First, it does not benefit the overall economic performance of our country. Second, it does not benefit business owners. And 3, it does not benefit at all the perception in the labor sector with regards to menstruating female employees. As to my first argument, imposing paid menstruation leave for female employees would render inefficiency in workplaces, considering the already existing leaves granting to female employees in the workforce as mandated by laws such as the Labor Code, Social Security Law, Solo Parents Welfare Act, Magna Carta of Women, RA 9262, or the Bouncy Law, as well as sick leaves and vacation leaves. The total number of leaves granted to one female employee would then approximately be 237 paid leaves at that, with 242 working days a year. Imposing paid menstruation leave to female employees in accordance to House Bill 7758, which is abided by this motion in the affirmative side, would mean that female employees would then have a 2-day paid leave every month, which would equate to an additional 24 days paid leave in a year. That would then be equal to a 338 possible leaves out of 365 days a year for women. Affirmation of the motion would further impact the amount of work that can be accomplished in workplaces prior to women working significantly more than men on average of 10%. As to my second argument, imposing paid menstruation leave would then encourage business owners to abstain employing female employees to their workforce as it would postulate more work and more funding to follow the policies. The initial mindset of business owners would then be cutting off employment of female employees to their businesses, considering the inability of small businesses to cater this policy, and as not every employer could shoulder such expenses. Menstrual leave with this pay method could lead to disenfranchisement because of an additional 24 days a year of leave, with pay on top of the other already existing leaves for women, which could lead to layoffs or even closing of some factories that may not have the wherewithal to cope with the burden of complying with all these privileges. Simply, this is non-beneficial as it causes cost burden to our business owners. As to my last argument, imposing paid menstruation leave for female employees who is non-beneficiary to the perceptions of working women in our society and does not diminish the existing menstrual stigma in the labor sector. By definition, according to Resnick in 2021, menstrual stigma refers to the potential lack of access sanitation supplies to verbal and nonverbal shaming of menstrual people. It is justified to oppose to the motion at hand as it would result to rejuvenate and nourish the prejudice and sexist beliefs in employment matters that make it seem like all women are biologically inferior to men, which is a major contributing factor in discriminating women in the workplace, especially since these ideas are used to undermine the value, contribution, and leadership potential of women and label menstruating women incapable of doing work. It would also cause exploitation of the noble cause of such policy, as not all women experience the same kind of severe pain in menstruation. In conclusion, the imposition of the motion does not benefit the overall welfare of the menstruating female employees, instead burdens them with the downside that paid menstrual leave possesses. Instead, why don't we focus more in assessing the health of menstruating women, especially to those who have severe and chronic reproductive health issues, and not just impose them to leave work to rest on their own accord. Addressing the importance of treatment would be more beneficial to these women rather than just imposing an approved leave that could make them no longer serve a purpose in the labor sector. So, the negative side of the House strongly opposes the motion. Thank you.
Speakers spoke for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. Second affirmative speaker, please cross-examine second speaker.
Good day. You talk about discrimination, correct?
Yeah.
Does that mean that you want equality in the workplace? Am I correct? Does that mean that you want equality in the workplace?
Yes.
But to inform you, it's not the gender equality that we are emphasizing here, but gender equity. On to my next question. Are you aware that when menstruation strikes women, they suffer headaches, cramps, fatigues, and feeling of detection or irritability? Are you aware of that?
Yes. But this does not apply to all women for a fact.
If you're aware of that, then you're against menstruation. Crazy. Next.
I am not against restriction. I am a woman.
Do you agree that equality doesn't always equate? I'm sorry. Are you aware of the difference between equality and equity? Are you?
Yes.
Then you agree that equality doesn't always equate to equity. That medical leave available for both sexes doesn't suffice the additional needs of women concerning reproductive health. Next. Are you aware that someone with stomach ache is more likely to be excused from work than someone with menstruation pain?
Yes.
Then isn't it contradicting to your argument regarding equality? That would be all. Thank you.
The resolution lasted for 1